This is Daryl, 10-foot truck, Good Attitude Services. My other phone ran out, so I'm here waiting. So I'm waiting. There's a big semi. Okay, where I'm dropping off this pallet of materials, there's a big semi truck unloading. There's another big, large 16-foot box truck underneath me. So I gotta wait till they unload the semi, and then I'm gonna load it. And then there's UPS truck. So I got three. You got the UPS, you got the box truck, you got the FedEx. So it's a busy day today. He's going in there right now too. So he can unload because he's just unloading. He's not unloading pallets. A nice guy I talked to, that UPS guy. He's a really nice UPS driver. He knows how to drive really good. I mean, he just backs that thing up. Those guys do that stuff all day long. So yeah, that's cool. So anyway, what I was saying, I guess on the last video, probably, I mean, since this is going to be a split video, was when I did getting these contracts or getting these repeat customers or clientele. If you're really nice and you do good work, you show up, you're nice to the customers, they recognize that and they will use you for the lifetime. I mean, as long as you're in business, they'll use you. Like I said, with that business, with that consignment store, I was with them for many years. Well, at least a couple. I don't know how many years now. I can't remember. Let's see, maybe 3 or 4 years. They finally closed, and but they had offered me the contract because she said our customers are actually calling. She said, I've been in this business for 20 years, and I've never had customers call and compliment the delivery driver. She said, in your case, I'm constantly getting compliments and customers calling, and I've built a lot of customer base off of that, because not only were those customers buying items there and furniture to bring to their place, they actually also sometimes moved and they needed other services from other, buying and selling or picking up from other places. And I would have customers on a regular basis. In fact, one of the customers there, she was a regular at that store, so I helped her out for years. So you'll build that clientele base with that kind of service, because that's what you want to do. Is you want to expand out. You can take one store, say if you contract with customers, or you help out customers at a certain store for picking up and delivering. You can branch out each customer that you're dealing with. Not only are you dealing with the store's calling you, hey, we need this delivered, we need this picked up, we need this taken, removed or whatever. I did a lot of removals for them too. And each customer that you go and drop those off, those become customers, and then those customers tell other people, and it branches out and spider webs out into the community. And you'll have calls for years on that, like, I guess I'll move up, kind of like an Amazon waiting in line. But yeah, you'll have customers for years and years. I still have customers calling me. I don't live in that area anymore, unfortunately. And but years later, they'll call you and they'll keep your number, and you just keep doing that. You keep spider webbing that out, and that doesn't require any investment in ads. That just requires you being a good worker, good customer service, consistent, showing up on time and doing, the job. That just requires customer service, and that's free. That's just being a good customer service person and being good at your job and knowing and careful with people's items and that. In that case, that's all that requires. It doesn't require any expensive, and that's kind of the way I'm going to do it. I don't really plan on investing too much money into ads, at least this time and at the moment. But okay, that's interesting. So he's probably got a couple pallets in that thing. Yeah, so I gotta wait for him to go. It's a busy place. At least now. Usually I assume there's nobody in here. Yeah, so you build. You're gonna it may take a long time to do that, but it's well worth it because you're actually building a solid base, a solid foundation for you. Like, I mean, in fact, here's a good example. I went on a job to help a lady move, and I'd helped her move. Or no, it was the first time I helped her move. At the time, I didn't even have a truck, and I did a really good job. Helped out. I know moving. I've been doing it a long time, so I'm nice with people and customer service wise. And the guy that she was there helping that had the truck, he used to own a moving company, and he had his old moving company truck there, and I helped. So I got to talking with him, and we loaded. So and then she called me. She moved a lot too. She was moved in a condominiums apartment. So I got to talk with him over the years, before I bought the truck, and then after I bought the truck, right before I bought the truck, he was talking to me about how his moving company, and here we go, okay, I'm next in line here. He had sold, or he didn't sold his moving company. He had quit doing his moving. He was doing something else, and so he actually wanted me to buy the truck, but at the time the truck was way big. It was a 30-foot truck. I didn't have a place to park it, so that's why I decided to get this 10-footer because I could park it in like a van. But yeah, he had told me a lot about his company, and he was still getting phone calls, and he had literally built that company up to 3 states, I think, or 4 states, 10 trucks, I don't remember. It was quite a big moving company. But so I got to learn a lot from that guy about business, and he was still getting phone calls from his company, and he had quit 10 years before, and he was still getting. He had to actually change his phone number because he was getting to the point where he was getting tired of it, like getting these calls, and he didn't really want to do that business anymore. So he was talking. I'll talk later about that, but he was an interesting guy. I'm gonna go get this pallet unloaded. Where's the paperwork? Here we go. Wheel chocks. That's something I didn't know about. Until I started doing these expediting pallets of materials, is that when they're when they're bringing the forklift, when they're forklifting it in or out, it pushes on the truck. So you want to have the wheel chocks. You really, technically you want two of them. I only have one, so I put one when they're putting the pallet in. I make sure there's one here, and then when we're taking it out, I put it here. But both ways, they're always pushing on the truck, though. So you don't want to ruin your transmission. So I got to get another wheel chock. I had two, but now I lost one, so I got only two. But I never really used them before. Never needed them, only on a hill. But in this case, yeah, I learned that online when you're doing the expediting. Have those wheel chocks on both sides of the wheel, so when they're pushing and pulling on it, it's not slamming up against your transmission. At least that's what they say. So I do it anyway. That makes sense. So anyway, back to the movie. I was talking about the guy who did that I helped a customer move, and he was he had a moving company that he had sold. Oh no, he didn't. Sorry, he never sold it, but he built it into a big company. Like I said, almost 4 or 5 trucks, multiple trucks. He had an office, and it was multiple states, so it wasn't just one state. And he told me, first of all, he was going to sell me like all the equipment and everything. He was going to sell me the book of business, like his customers and all that, for a really good price. But yeah, I couldn't. That truck wasn't. I didn't have a place for that truck at the time. I needed a smaller truck, and I didn't really want to get into the bigger moves because that requires a DOT. You have to register with DOT. You have to register with the household goods in in the state. You have to have your permits. So there's a lot of work. It's a lot of things you have to do. Where with a small truck, I'm just doing moves and pickups and deliveries. I don't really have to deal with that. So I don't have to deal with registering with DOT. So that's kind of why I chose not to. But a friend of mine ended up buying that truck, and he went ahead and got his DOT, and he got his household goods permits license. He's doing really well. He bought that truck from him, so that's good. It helped him out a lot. Back to what he was saying. So he told me that he had built that company up, early, I don't know how many years, but where it was multiple states and all that, and there was a lot of trucks and employees. And he said, you know what, it got to become such a headache, working in the office and doing all the paperwork and stuff, because you got to deal with employees and all that. He said, really, the best time I had in doing that business is when it was just me and one other guy in the truck, and that was it. He said I got past that, and it became a huge headache, and it wasn't enjoyable anymore. So he actually scaled it back down to like he had it before, because he started out with just him and one guy, and then he scaled it up, and then he said it wasn't fun anymore. He just didn't like it anymore. So he scaled it back down. And then he had a customer. He used to do other types of work. He was really good with electronics and stuff. So he was offered a really high paying position to do these advanced electronics. So he just quit the moving business, which went on to that. And then, like I said, he sold that truck to a friend of mine. And that guy went on, painted the truck, made the truck really look nice, and started his own moving company. He's doing really well. So I just didn't want to get involved with that bigger moving stuff. I'd just rather do the junk removal, pickup deliveries, stuff like I'm doing now. And but he said that, he said just sometimes it's better just to keep it small. And that's the way he saw it. And I wonder sometimes, like, when you start scaling up like that, you got to be ready. It's not going to be easy, and it could be a big headache, like he said. And you may not want to stay that big. You may want to, because you can make really good money even as a small operation. Of course, you got to be willing to be on the trucks, and that's where a lot of guys, their vision is to get off the trucks and have employees do the work, and then they just expand the business. Now, if you want to do that, that's great. And I think it takes a certain type of person to do that. Like with him, he went ahead and did that, scaled it up, but then later on realized that really wasn't what he wanted. So he scaled it back down. So you can always scale it back down. He could have probably sold it for a lot more money, but than he did. But he really wasn't interested in it. He just kind of left. He just kind of walked away from it. That wasn't his intention, because some people, what they do is they have what they call an exit plan. They're going to get a business. They're going to start a business. They're going to scale it up, get employees or whatever, and then they're going to sell it because they'll have a book of business. Now, to sell it with a book of business, you have to be doing this for years, because you want basically a 40-hour. I mean, not 40 hours, but not in moving they don't have, but you want to have enough business for the person who's going to buy it, like enough book of business, or people, customers are you calling, that it's going to be worth it for them to hire employees and all that, instead of having to get a franchise. So you'd have to build up pretty big to do that. And I really don't think he had that exit plan. To me, it seemed like he was just going to keep doing his business the way he wanted to. But then when he got an offer for that other job, he couldn't pass it up, and so he just kind of walked away from it. He didn't really care about it. So that became his exit plan, is that he got a new career. So I think that was, in my mind, I think that was just something that happened. It wasn't planned. So sometimes when you plan things, they don't necessarily work out. So you can plan to have an exit plan. You can plan to scale up. You can plan to do all that. It may not be what you want, or it may not work out. So you kind of have to be flexible either way. And there's nothing wrong with trying to do that, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. For him, it worked out good for him in a different way. It wasn't like he planned it out. He got interest from another company for doing something else that worked out to a better pay and better, more economically feasible, or and he didn't have to have overhead and stuff. He just could work there. It was more of a W-2 situation. So it's interesting how things do work out. I mean, of course, I moved to a different area, so I never could really scale up there, even if I tried, because I moved here and now I'm starting over again. And to tell you the truth, at my age, I don't know if I'm interested in scaling up. I think I'm just interested in getting a good customer base, and possibly, finding a really good helper that can work with me on a consistent basis. That's good customer service. That's good at good with customers, and honest and reliable. That would be fine. But as far as getting off the truck, I don't know if that's something I would be interested in. You never know. Things change. Ideas change, and sometimes maybe I'm going to get out into something else. I don't know. Right now, that's what I just plan on building up a customer base here, as long as I'm here, and working towards that goal. I don't have an exit plan at the moment. I'm not going to sell a business or nothing like that, unless things change. But I don't really see that happening. Where other people have that in mind, and you have to really be very, very, I don't even know how that works. I mean, I was watching that guy, Andrew, in fact, I'm going to be going to his live. He has a live event on this Saturday, February 24th, I think around noon, Pacific time, where he's going to talk about his new software he's building. But he was a junk removal business that sold. He built it up and they sold it. He sold his whole business, trucks and everything. So he's a guy you would want to, if you have time his name's Andrew Thompson, Thom. I think I'll have to look it up. Andrew Thompson. He used to have the company Jedi Junk Removal in Los Angeles, and he would be the guy you'd want to talk to about. I mean, talk to, or yeah, maybe you could contact him, but to watch about selling your business. And my phone's out of storage there. Selling your business, because he did that. So me, I don't know. I like I said, I don't really know anyone who's done that. To tell you the truth, I just hear about it, and that's kind of that's an avenue you can go down, but it's not one that I don't think I'm going down. But some other people may want to go down that path, and if you do want to go down that path, I believe it's going to be a lot more to it than people think. You have to have all these. Everything's got to be, as far as your books. You definitely want to have an accountant, and you want to have good bookkeeping, and you want to have good organizational skills, and you want to have records, because it's going to require all these records and tax records and all your documents and all this stuff to prove that that you have a legitimate business that's going to work consistently in that community and provide employment for people because when they go in, they're going to have to hire employees. I think I talked about that before when I looked into two men in a truck. When I was looking, they called me about, because I was in the area. They called me about looking into a franchise, that two-man truck in that area, because they were looking for the demographics showed that they could do well in that area. Well, they wanted a lot. Like I think I talked in a video, you had to have office, you had to have a certain amount, you had to have newer trucks, a certain amount of trucks, and you had to provide a certain amount of employees, and you had to have like a business manager, I think, or if you're going to business manage yourself. But you have all these things, that huge investment and all that in line before you could even do a franchise with them. They weren't going to give a franchise to anybody. So it was to me, it was like, wow, that's a huge responsibility. It's a huge investment that I wasn't going to do. But other people, I think someone obviously did take it, because I think they do have a franchise there in town. So yeah, that's something to look into. Anyway, I'm back at home right now. I don't think I have any more to talk to, but I just brought that up because a lot of people talk about exit plans, and that's a big part of business, but I've never ever thought about that. I always thought about, I just want to get some clients, I just want to be self-employed, I want the freedom, I want to be able to do my own thing and have my own schedule and provide a service that I know and I've been doing for years, and I can do it well, and building that customer base. But I never ever thought about an exit plan, like what am I going to do when I don't want to do this anymore, or when I'm just can't do it anymore. That's something I haven't thought about. But people who are younger, who are starting out businesses, at a young age, and have a long vision, ahead of them, that's something they probably want to look into. Unless they don't want to exit, maybe they want to stay in that business their whole life. Maybe they want to pass it on to their kids or pass it on to their family, someone else. That could be an exit plan too. You could build it up, and if you have kids and they're interested in the family business, you just pass it on to them. That's an exit plan right there. But if you don't, then you have to sell it. So anyway, I think I probably talked enough. This is Daryl at 10 Foot Truck, Good Attitude Services. Have a great day.